Hey everyone, Swapnil here. Today I've got something very different for you all, and it's an interview with someone that I call a really good friend now as well, and he's been working with me for the past, I don't know, how many months has it been, Barry? 2 months.
Yep, this is our third month coming up.
And this is Barry Wells. Barry's probably is been going through my TAP system for the last 2 months, and he's had really good results. And I wanted everyone to get this, but this interview is not just about the TAP. Of course, it is a little bit, and Barry. But I wanted to make this a bit different. So every single person that watches this, Barry's going to share some nice little tips for you all that you can implement straight away towards the end of this. Yeah. So firstly, Barry, what's your name, Barry, and where are you from?
So my name is Barry Wells. I live up here in Leeds in the UK, and been running a martial arts school since 2006.
So just so that for everyone that is watching this kind of gets an idea as to just describe, like, martial arts, obviously, as you were in the niche as well. So what kind of martial arts are you doing, and just a little bit about your business yourself, maybe about how you got to where you have as well, and then just get into like where was you before you started working with me, and then we'll cover some other stuff after that as well.
Okay. So back in 2006 is when I moved up to Leeds, 250 miles away from friends and family, to start running my own martial arts school. Started teaching in my front room, and I've always been interested in new technology. Something my organization that I used to be a part of was frightened of. Back in 2006, our organization didn't even have a website. So I was always looking into progressing my marketing through digital means. So we got a website, and actually, first of all, we had a MySpace page, and then the website, and it's got to the point where we started teaching our front room. Then we started hiring out a primary school. Now we've got a full-time location, but we kind of hit a plateau, really, where we were getting internet inquiries, we were getting walk-ins, referrals, this kind of idea. But we'd kind of hit a peak where we couldn't push through the barrier. We were even at the point where we were going to schools, standing outside schools, handing out leaflets to parents outside schools, which I know keyed off a few schools when we were hanging around.
But you've got to do that sort of thing, though, don't you? Like, that's the thing starting out.
So yeah, that's kind of where we were. We were doing stuff that we personally didn't like doing. Felt a little bit kind of, hanging around outside of schools. Feels a bit dodgy. We're trying to incentivize people to bring down referrals and stuff. And then we got introduced to Facebook, which is absolutely amazing platform for marketing. The original system that we would use would be, you would create a post and then you would boost it out there to for about £200 over the course of 3 days, to get as much traction as possible, to get as many people commenting as possible, so that the algorithm would push it out organically as well. But that was so tiring. That was such a lot of work. You were talking about maybe 40 inquiries a day. When I say inquiries, I don't mean you get their names and numbers. You had to have a conversation with them, and you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. Hi, this is our location. Blah blah blah. You do that, just the same thing to each and every person over and over again. I was spending per advert probably about 3 hours a day on Facebook, just replying to people, trying to keep that conversation going. it was very difficult. So what we used to do was we used to run a week advert, well, sorry, a 3-day advert, once a week for each program. So every week I was having to come up with a new marketing idea for the advert, basically. And it just became every single week I was going to go, right, okay, so now we need to focus on this for the juniors, and now we need to focus on this for little dragons, and this for the ladies, and this for the adults. And it was just getting way too much, spending way too much. I mean, 7, 8, 14 to 30 hours a week on Facebook.
Yeah,
that's a full-time job of just talking.
You can't really sustain that as a business, really, because if you're not doing what you're trying to, you're trying to run your business as well, aren't you? At the same time, it's just sounds.
This is it. So it was sucking a lot of my time into it, and it was you'd go to meetings and your phone would beep, and you'd have to go and reply to it, because you know that if you don't reply to that person within the first 10 minutes, you're probably not going to see them again, or speak to them again. And, how many times do you reply to the same message before it becomes a little bit weird? It's just all these things, and you'd end up with thousands, hundreds of thousands of comments on posts and stuff. It was a lot of work. So we were looking for a different way of doing things. And I was introduced to Swap through Gordon Bertram, doing chatbots and things like that. And you mentioned that you had a tap system, and you had a special offer just to come on board and try out the tap system. And that worked really well for us. And it was mainly it was because we were still using the old system, but with the new stuff that you were providing, there wasn't really too much of a difference between it for us, if that made sense. Just generally because obviously we've got something that was working, and we were trying to implement what you were doing to what was working.
So you mean like the transition wasn't too hard from going to what you was doing to what I was kind of showing us?
Because when we came on board, it was the kind of like a bite-sized chunk.
Yeah.
Because there were a few gaps, we were filling it with old information, or we were taking your stuff and putting it with the old stuff. So for us, it wasn't as massively effective as what it is that we're doing now. I mean, the stuff that we do now is just insane.
So let me just rewind a little bit, just so. So how many members were you at just before you even started the tap system, and what would you say was like your biggest struggle at that point?
Sure. Okay. So I have a medical condition called psoriatic arthritis. I had just been able to start walking again. I'd been bedridden for about 4 months with this condition. Been through the NHS trying a plethora of different medications until they found one that worked really well for me. So at the point where I took the gamble and came fully on board with you, we were at 60 students. We only had 60 students. I didn't have the mental ability to be able to sit on my phone for 3 hours a day, replying the same old scripts to people on Facebook. Something needed to change. Something needed to happen. I couldn't cope with it anymore. It was too much. Ooh.
Sorry.
it was too much to cope with all that. So I was looking for something different. So after, I think it was about 2 or 3 months of back and forth with Swap, eventually bit the bullet and went ahead and if you don't mind me saying, probably spent the most amount of money I've ever spent on someone for marketing ever, and have not looked back so far. It's phenomenal, what we have accomplished. I now have adverts that go out for months at a time and just sit there. My last adult advert got, I think, 260 leads in the space of 4 weeks. You know, we've got kids adverts that are out there that are just constantly ticking over, and I get anywhere between 5 to 15 inquiries a day at the moment, just off of Facebook. We are now investing, I'd say, anywhere between £800 and £1,200 a month on Facebook.
Nice.
And seeing double the return on that. Our billing check has gone up 15 grand a year. That's just billing check. That's the passive monthlies coming in. We are hitting anywhere between 20 and 30 enrollments a month. And we've been going together 3 months now. So in the 3 months that we've been working this together, 60, we are now up to about 110 students. So it's almost double my student base in the course of 3 months. And the only reason it hasn't gone more than that is I'm now in that horrible position of not being able to do all the phone calls myself. So we are now having to bring on an extra person who's going to be the prospect manager to do all those phone calls and to speak to people. So we've gone from bust to boom in the space of 3 months. I had my first holiday. It was only a weekend away, but it was the first time we've actually been able to afford to go away. And we're now taking anywhere between, at the point where I was meeting SWAT, we were taking £2,000 a month, give or take. We are now taking anywhere between £4,000 and £6,000 a month.
Wow. That's a big change, really.
That life-changing totals. This is, it's serious stuff. Serious stuff. The turnaround that we've had.
Say someone who's watching this now, in the sense they obviously don't understand what the TAP system is and what it is.
Sure.
From your point of view, if in a nutshell, if you wanted to describe it to someone, how would you say this is different? How is this different to something else that you've done? What is it that you think makes this a no-brainer for someone, for example?
That's a really great question. So first of all, actually, I saw a post by Matt Chapman on Facebook today, and it rang bells, and it says, the longer you've been in martial arts, the less you'll be able to market to people. And his argument with that was, the longer you've been in martial arts, the more you advertise to someone like yourself as opposed to your students. So you will create posts based on what you think your school offers, or what you think the benefits are. And that isn't necessarily why people come to your school, and that's not necessarily why people are staying. So one of the massive things that you have helped us with is the copy. The systematic way that you use interviews to be able to generate copy, to understand a person's pain, to understand not just their pain though, because anyone can say, oh yeah, I want self-defense, or I want fitness, or this kind of, to go deeper and to literally find the points that made them make the choices in the first place, to then have a bespoke, detailed advert that speaks to people who have those similar pain thresholds has just it's just changed everything, because I can now turn around and I look at a parent or a student in the school and I go, I want more of you in the school. So I can now go over to that student and do like one of your systematic interviews, and know that I'm going to, or at least potentially going to, enlist more people like them. So, I go to the parents that have their kids trained 5 days a week, and I interview them. So I've got an advert that speaks to someone potentially with a similar kind of personality, and do the same with students. I have one student who travels 30 minutes drive to come to my classes 3 times a week. He was the first advert that we used. Why did you come down? Like for me, I'd advertise my adults classes as like self-defense or fitness or this or that. Why did you come down to class? Oh, I like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, really? Yeah, I like Bruce Lee. There was our first advert.
Yeah.
Our first advert. Want to train like Bruce? Just little thing like that, and finding his pain points, and then he came through, showed it to him. Would this inspire you to want to come down to the school? Yes. Bam. Chuck it out there. £2.56 a lead. 260 leads. Bam. There you go. Yeah. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. Okay. That's just number one. That alone, the ability for copy to write itself.
It's foundational. Is that bit is what everyone misses out from, and if you don't get that right, then it doesn't matter if you're using a chatbot, if you're using like the most advanced email marketing system, whatever it is, it won't make a difference. That one bit which you just covered is like the most essential bit. So
yeah. I mean, you used to have to sit down for hours and be thinking, right, I want to do one for discipline today, so I'm going to do discipline and kind of come up with my own ideas. Whereas this is you are specifically interviewing your target audience, or like members of the school that are going to help bring in more members that are of similar attitudes to the school. And yeah, that is just worked out phenomenally.
So what else would you say is kind of, so that just for everyone watching, that is like the TAP system stands as target, acquire, and promote. So this is the targeting that we were talking about. So just so you know, acquiring and promoting is, I'll let you describe this, Barry, because in the day I keep teaching this all the time. So it'd be good to hear what you think of it. And then what do you think, how is this different to something else that you've done as well?
Sure. So the way we acquire leads is we use lead generation as opposed to engagement. And again, if someone's interested in your advert, they click on the lead gen, it auto fills all their information. So they are literally 2 button clicks away from you getting their name and number, as opposed to, I mean, I used to design websites, and I said if you have to click more than 2 times, you're going to lose a lot of people. Now imagine you're having to type something. So there are, how much is it? And then you're saying, oh, it depends on the program that you roll on. How does that sound? And then they have to type, and then you have to type, and then they have to type, and you're playing this tennis off against each other. And every time that there is a question and you have to reply with a question to try and get them engaged, that you can get their contact details. And every time, when you're playing tennis, your chance of hitting the net and losing the customer. When someone comes onto the lead gen, they just go, I'm interested, click. Okay, yeah, click send, boom, you've got their details. You can get their email address, you can get their mobile number, and their details. And with Swaps Help, we set up an automated system, so it adds it to my CRM automatically. It automatically sends them a text message, so they are getting contact immediately. Automatically sends me a text message with their details as well, so I can get in contact within the first 10 minutes of them inquiring, which has also heavily increased our booking in rate. In addition to that, we set up some emails that get sent out instantly as well. So it automatically puts it into our email client and sends out some emails. So it's gone from just talking to someone on Facebook, getting their name and number maybe, and then waiting until the evening to call them, or whatever time they told us to call them, to suddenly they get an email, they get a text message, we get a text message, so we can call them instantly. And having these points of contact, it's our booking in rates have gone through the roof off of the back of this. And we even get people sometimes when they slip through the net, they're replying to our emails. Hi, I'm expecting a phone call, so I haven't had a phone call. Oh, fantastic. I'll stick you on our priority list to give you a call tonight. When's best to call? Previously where things would have just slipped through, they're not slipping through as much. And they're going to be even less once we get our new prospect manager on board as well. So that's
great, man. No, it's good to hear from your point of view, because obviously I'm doing this all the time, so it's nice to hear like what makes it different from your end.
It also stops poachers.
Yes.
So I know there's a few people out there that do the engagement side of things, and the biggest problem that you have with that, well, actually two biggest problems. Number one, it's there on your Facebook, and when people come to look at your Facebook, they shouldn't be seeing ads upon ads upon ads upon ads. Okay. But any martial arts school that has no respect or any kind of honor can just go through and just message everyone, just be like, hey, come to our martial arts school. So, or
I was quite surprised when before I got into the martial arts kind of niche a few years ago, what it was. I only heard this about a year ago, and I was like, wow, people actually go in and literally, I remember some people's commenting about this, saying that people approaching my people off my ad, but that's pretty cheeky.
We had one the other day. I mean, they didn't go through and all they did was on our advert was they tagged they posted one of their leaflets. They posted one of their leaflets on the back of our thing.
Doesn't affect you now, though, does it really? So
block. Thank you very much. You've just saved me money. You're not going to see any of our adverts anymore. But it's just people that can't do this kind of thing that get a little bit jealous and then feel like they can poach you.
So let me ask you this question. So like the tap system, in the sense, how would you describe it like another course, or what would you describe? What do you think has made that, it has given you that extra? I mean, the results, end of the day, don't get me wrong, there are lots of people out there teaching something similar, something not. There's quite a few things in this program which I think makes it very unique. But from your point of view, what would you say is, how did you get these results? Do you think someone else can as well?
I think a lot of it is to do with getting out your own way. So when you interview someone, you need to, whatever they say, you need to take that literally, okay, and not change it based on, well, I think I should put that in. For me personally, the copy, the copy which just resonates with people. how valuable would it be if you could take your best student and multiply them by X amount, okay? Which is what the interview technique does. Not perfectly, obviously, because you're not going to get the exact same students, but you're going to get like-minded students coming in through your door. How valuable is that? For us, that was just insane, you know, especially for the adults course. You know, I hear people say all the time, adults are hard to market to. Not with this system at all. In fact, our adults course are our cheapest leads that we have from the last advert that we did. They were £2.50. They're currently at about £3 a lead. Yeah, just the having the copy that just resonates with people, I think, is just, for me, the most invaluable thing that has been given. The rest of it can be done. You know, I can put stuff into CRM, I can put stuff into emails, I can do that. I can, you know, but for me, just that ability to be able to write the copy, have something that resonates with people with similar mindset, and just, yeah, I mean, like our current advert, adults advert, someone, you know, one guy spoke to him, did his interview. What is it? He's like, oh, you know, I love the history of Wing Chun. You know, I love. For me, I had never even thought about that, and we've done an advert that just goes over the history, and we're getting like 3 or 4 leads off of that a day, just talking about the history of the Wing Chun. I would never have done that. You know, you always talk about like self-defense or the fitness, you know, the generic kind of stuff. And there's 2 subjects that people have just blown my mind. Talking about Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Donnie Yen, that kind of stuff. Talking about, you know, the history of Wing Chun, and both adverts are viable and working really well.
It's very true. I mean, like, this is probably, I mean, giving some value to people who are listening so far. And, you know, I'd say the way marketing on Facebook has definitely changed, in the sense that, you know, you don't come across as being an ad. You know, people come on social media to like get away from the problems or learn about stuff. So this is the kind of approach which we do in the TAP system, which is help Barry like literally explode his business, really, in a way. So, but that's exactly what you're talking about, you know, talking about topics about where people are or how they perceive martial arts. You know, it's not about, you know, like me, if I start talking to someone about chatbots who doesn't really know anything about marketing, they're just going to switch off. I mean, in my head, that is like, wow, this is an amazing kind of thing. Everyone should know about it. It's similar with people in the fitness industry or in the martial arts or anything. It's, you need to be where the people are, you know, in the sense where are they thinking? You know, they're not thinking about doing a special kata for a karate thing, or, you know, they don't really know about any of that stuff. So what do they know? You know, the stuff we just covered. So, but yeah, no, that's some great value bombs drop in there. So good. But yeah, no, I mean, like, what I wanted to ask you next is probably, this is the reason why I probably do this, is like, you know, marketing and everything is great and teaching this kind of stuff, but what kind of impact does it actually have on someone? And you know, like, how has this actually changed your life? What has it actually done? You know, and how's my teaching methods probably a bit different and stuff? It's just, this is probably the reason why people take action. And it's one of the first things that I tell people when we're doing copy stuff. It's all about emotions anyway. So,
yeah.
And this is probably my question to you, like, and everyone watching probably asking, okay, that's great, you all this copy stuff, but what has it actually done for your life? How can it affect someone the same way? You know?
What has it done? Okay. Well, so far, it has increased our monthly income from £2,000 a month up to anywhere between £5,000 and £6,000 a month. So it's almost tripled our turnover. We're now in a position where I'm going to have to open extra days at the martial arts school because we're getting pretty full at 110 students. We are now looking for a bigger premises for a martial arts school because the marketing is this marketing is sustainable. That's the is sustainable. You put an advert out there and it just keeps ticking over. And when it stops working, you go out and do another interview with someone else, and then boom, you got another advert that lasts another 4 weeks, 6 weeks. I've been able to go on holiday for the first time for ages, so we went and spent £1,500 on taking the kids away to Haven Resort, and just full works, just oh, you want to go on all the rides, no problem. It was like 3 days of just, you wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, you're doing something all through the day. That was amazing to be able to do that. We're looking into getting our own house. We don't have a house. We can get our own house, so we've got a few £1,000s worth of savings now that we've been able to put to the side. So we're going to be looking to get our own house. What else? Oh, car. Yeah, looking at a new car as well. So I've got a 10-year-old Vauxhall Astra, and just going to get that traded in for nothing special, a Mondeo to start off with. We'll get a new prospect manager on because that's the only thing holding us back at the moment, is not being able to get through to enough people at the moment. And when they're on board, it's just so yeah, it's enabled us to be able to take on another staff member as well. 3 months. 3 months. 3 months. It's crazy to think how much has changed in 3 months. My class is going from 4 people in a class to now we have 18. Our last graduation, back before we started this marketing, we had, I think, 20 people turn up for a graduation. This graduation, we had 60 people grading. Next graduation, probably the best part of 100 grading. So it's just, I try not to think about it. It's one of those things. It's almost like looking over the edge and go, damn, you've come a long way. That's a long way to fall.
One of the things I do have to give credit to you as well, Barry, is that you've put in a lot of hard work as well. So it's all good and getting on these strategies and stuff, but then you also need someone that will implement it as well and test stuff out. But in the day, I obviously give you like a system that obviously works, but that I do have to give you a lot of credit as well, because you've been a great client. You've actually implemented it all and listened to me and come up with your own ideas. So,
well, this is the thing. If you a lot of people that are, when it comes to being on the fence, it's kind of a 2-factor fence thing. It's kind of a fear of their own inability to be able to do things properly, and a fear of what you're giving them is not going to work. I wholeheartedly will say what you do works if you implement it, and it's just a case of, if you implement it, it'll explode. It'll work really well. Oh, by the way, yeah, the videos that you've been telling us to do, they've been going mega viral as well, hitting like 2,000 people organically,
No,
without us boosting it as well. So
I've got a new addition to the tap system, which I'll let you know about. Well,
awesome.
I'll say it now anyway, so everyone watching. So, kind of mentioned it to you before, but I've kind of made like a 365-day, everyday video that you can do. But
Okay.
it's very much about. I'm pretty sure a lot of them will go viral. Is that kind of style to it, where it's more about education rather than, hey, just look at me in my gym kind of thing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look forward to sending that to you soon anyway. But that's pretty much ready. But okay, so one thing I'd like to ask you is, if someone is actually thinking about working with me, how would you describe my style? And then secondly, if they're on the fence about getting into the tap system, what would you say to them? It's a lot of thinking.
It is. It is.
I'm just joking. No.
It is.
It's hard to condense it, I know.
Yeah. They're two rather big questions. So what's it like to work with Swap? Swap knows his stuff, and you know, the great thing is, because I'm very technically minded, he'll tell me what to do, and I'll be able to do it. So the system that we use to automate all the stuff from the leads, he showed me how to do it once, and I'm able to pick it up. However, if I needed to go over it more, we have videos that he's supplied. He's always been there for me to, send a quick message to, get a reply to it. We've done weekly videos, so there's a lot of support there. If if this is something that's going to be completely new to you, so the support has been phenomenal. Just little things, and the conversations that we have, going into it, because I like to know the in-depths and why we do certain things, and Swap's quite happy to tell me that. It's not like he's trying to hold back like some special secrets from you. He's quite happy to give you everything. If you're on the fence about the tap system, I would say that, just have a bit of a conversation with yourself. Say, are you willing to just, if you are using Facebook at the moment and you're getting results, but you're having to put a lot of effort into it, imagine putting that effort into something that is a lot simpler, a lot easier to implement, and just the rewards are far greater than the post engagement side of things. So yeah, if you're an intelligent person and you are looking to take things serious about your martial arts school as a business, and get those inquiries in and be ahead of everyone at the moment, because I don't think there are many people that are using the Styler system, get in there first, because it's just like when the post-engagement stuff first started happening, and it was hot off the press, and now everyone's kind of doing it. This is the current new way of doing things, and it's hot off the press. You get it now, you're going to have at least, I don't know, the post-engagement lasted for about 6 months, I guess 6 months before it started getting a bit more of a struggle. So yeah, this is where it is right now. Yeah.
I appreciate that. No, thanks. No, it's just good for someone else to hear it, rather than me saying myself.
Yeah.
It's this one tip I will give to anyone. You know, if you own business, it's always good to get testimonials. So it's all, you know, it helps massively. You know, if you ever did it for your own business, just get videos and then boost them out. You know, end of the day, it's all about attention. So.
One thing I will say is,
yeah,
before we get going, because I've had a lot of people message me and ask me personally what adverts I'm using. That's not how this system works. Okay, my adverts won't work for you. Your adverts won't work for me, because the adverts that you are creating are specific to your school, and that is one of the most important things about this system, is it's personalized to your school. Okay, so once you understand how to create those unique copies, even then, I think if the market became saturated, um, every person is looking for something different. Yeah. So, you know, if someone's interested in traditional martial arts and the history and stuff, they're going to come to my advert. You know, if people are interested in, you know, full contact and sparring, they're not going to come to my school. So it works on a lot higher level.
very good point. Yeah, I mean, I spoke to someone the other day, and they weren't sure. They were like talking about, okay, I do a very specific kind of martial arts, but I was like, well, that's actually a good thing, because you'll attract much more better people, or, you know, it makes you different. You know, like, this tap system is very different to anything out there.
Yeah.
And I know that it works. I mean, it's the same with the martial arts. If you've got a specific style, or even if someone's watching this who's doing the fitness kind of style, or whatever it is, like, it's your own thing. This is what you need to promote. So this is why, don't try molding yourself too much.
This is it. Yeah, there's a lot of generic adverts that are going on out there, and the problem is that people turn up and they expect something that you're not. You know, which is why in my adverts, the adult adverts, you know, we specifically say we do not do full contact. There you go. You know, and I can hear every single traditional martial artist going right now. But we don't. We're Wing Chun. We don't do full contact. I mean, we've got stick fighting. We do a screamer, but that's separate. You know, the adverts that we are marketing for are for our adults classes, and we do not do full contact in there. And if we did an advert saying come down, and, you know, if you say martial arts and people think like getting pagged in the face, we at the moment are in the niche where we're getting a lot of students that don't want to get hit in the face.
Let me ask you a question. What would you say to this? So say someone says, oh, well, I don't think there's enough people out there who would want my style. I've had this question before, so I thought it'd be good to. I know what I want, but.
Well, I actually worked something out like this the other day. Within a 5-kilometer radius of where I am right now, there's about 240,000 people that live within a 5-kilometer area. That's a lot of people. So if you reach 10% of those, yeah, that's 24,000 people. Okay, if you could only get 1% of that turning up to your class, what's that? An extra 230 odd students turning up to your 240 students turning up to your class. Okay. Same in an area of like 20,000 people. You know, there's going to be a percentage of people that are going to be looking for what you do. And the thing is you look around. I look. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 martial arts schools that are in spitting distance of my club. Yeah. One of them does boxing. One of them does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Thai. One of them does karate. The other does Jeet Kune Do. and all of them do full contact for both kids and adults. We don't. We're fitting in a niche. We have a niche.
Mm.
We're getting the concerned parents that don't want their kids getting their head pagged in coming down to our school. You know, we're getting the kids who lack confidence coming down to our school because they know that they're going to be coming into a nice, safe environment where they're going to be learning forms rather than hitting each other in the face. You know, everything's very generic at the moment. You know, come down. Everything's pretty much like kickboxing, but on steroids to a certain degree. You know, you go to a boxing gym, you're punching people in the face, doing pad work. You know, you go to a karate gym, you're learning forms, then punching people in the face. You know, similar to a kickboxing class. Go to a kickboxing class. I don't know if you do forms in kickboxing, but you're punching people. You know, it's all very kind of similar. Yeah, and we're fitting into a niche, especially our ladies only classes. Our ladies only classes are so popular because women have been to other martial arts schools and been pagged.
It's true. I mean, if someone's watching this and they actually do have a kickboxing class or karate, you know, it's not, Barry's not trying to say that them kind of places don't work. It's each place has its own style and the way and method of teaching. So it's
sorry,
wait, let me finish. I'll forget. It's you're just trying to put a light on your own method because that's what makes you different, and that's what you need to put out to everyone. This is how you'll attract more of your own people that you want to get. So yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Sorry. Yeah. Let me rephrase that. Everyone has an idea of what they think martial arts is. And if people have been to a martial arts school and been pagged and have that thought in their head, if your adverts are similar to Joe Blogs down the road who got that person pagged in the face, they're not going to come down to your martial arts school because they've had a negative experience. But if you've got one of these adverts which are, you know, explaining what happens and how it happens, or, you know, and they're reading it, if you're not one of those places, then you're going to attract that style of student. But again, I know there are some real hardcore people out there who want to attract the opposite side of the spectrum and don't want the side of the spectrum that we do. And this is where these specific adverts are going to work, because you will get the style of student that you want.
Is everyone for a specific style? You know, in the day, you'll find a lot of people want contact with like their MMA style and stuff, and they're like really in that world. So just attracting the right person at the right time.
Yeah.
Cool. I appreciate this, Barry. So I want you to finish off with 3 tips for someone. And yeah, we'll finish off on a nice little high. So we've gone through a lot of stuff in this interview, so I appreciate you being open about it. And we've dropped a lot of different nuggets. Someone actually listens through this properly. There's a lot of practical stuff that they can actually do and get now anyway. But I want you to like condense it, maybe say 3 things that you can, I know there's loads more, but you know, 3 things that you can think of top of your mind that you would say to someone, do this and you'll start getting results, or you'll be on your way to start getting results, you know, so pushing them in the right direction.
Okay. So tip number 1 would be listen to your audience, your customer base. Okay. And that's where kind of the interviewing comes into it. That is the biggest thing. If you can, you know, tap into what brings your best student down to the school, and you can get more students like them down to the school, who doesn't want that? So yeah, really kind of listening to your customer and getting those interviews done. That would be tip number 1. Tip number 2 would be get out your own way when it comes to doing things like adverts. When you're interviewing people, someone says something and you're a little bit kind of like, I'm not sure if I should put that in. Obviously, it being within the realms of tolerance and not racist or anything like that, you know, Just put it in there. You know, like I said, Bruce Lee, history, two things that I would never have put in an advert in a million years. Why the hell would anyone want to sit there and read the history of Wing Chun? Apparently people do. So yeah, get out of your stop thinking things aren't going to work, and instead listen to the people that are doing it and do it. If that makes sense. So that would be tip number 2. Tip number 3, is there a tip number 3? Tip number 3, I mean, if you're already doing Facebook ads and you're finding that your return is getting less and less for the more money that you're spending, something needs to change. So change it, be it moving on to lead generation or whatever. But yeah, at the point where something starts failing, you need to move on to the next thing. And this is, like I said, this is the next thing right now. Okay.
Cool. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for sharing this.
No
And I'm so excited to see your journey, man. It's been awesome, and I
can't wait. I can't wait to get this new person on, because once this new person is on,
it's
I mean,
skyrocket for you.
I mean, because at the moment, I'm the instructor. I'm the prospect manager. I'm the customer service manager. I'm the marketer. I make the. I'm doing everything.
When you get this person in, I know you'll reach to 10K very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, we've
not far off it now, to be honest. But yeah,
3 months. Yeah, we've managed to increase by, a billing check by 15 grand a year. That's just billing check, and that's not including the extra money that we're getting now from the uniform, from memberships, grading fees.
So many extras. Yeah, it's gonna awesome. Well, Barry, you stay on for a little minute, and then I'm just going to finish off this interview. But thank you everyone that's watched all the way through this. And if you do want to find out more, just message me directly, or just comment below wherever this is. Just comment below and I'll reply back to you. But yeah, no, I appreciate you watching this, and I hope you found this useful. Do rewatch some of it, well, all of it, and make some notes, because there's been a lot of stuff that we shared, which I know will help you a lot. And just if you're in my Facebook group, stay in there, because there's loads more stuff coming. If you're not in, because I'm going to be putting this out on YouTube and everywhere else, there will be a link for you to join my Facebook group. So make sure you do come in there. See you all soon. And if you need anything, reach out to me. Thank you, Barry, and appreciate it. See you all. Bye.